There is a piece of information that thousands of retirees share every single day without thinking twice about it. And that one piece of information is being used right now to drain bank accounts, steal identities, and destroy financial security for people just like you. I have seen it happen dozens of times in my 30 years of practice, and it is happening more frequently now than ever before. The worst part is that most people do not even realize they have made themselves a target until it is far too late. Now, I am going to walk you through exactly what this information is, why sharing it puts you at serious risk, and 3 specific strategies you can use starting today to protect yourself. I am also going to tell you about a client of mine who learned this lesson the hardest way possible, and I am going to show you how to avoid making the same mistake she did. Before I get into the story, I need to explain something that most people do not understand about identity theft and financial fraud targeting retirees. The thieves are not looking for your credit card number. They are not trying to hack your email. They are looking for something much simpler and much more valuable. They are looking for your social security number, your date of birth, and your full legal name. With just those 3 pieces of information, a skilled fraudster can open credit accounts, file false tax returns, apply for benefits in your name, and even access existing bank accounts if they can answer security questions. And here is the thing that shocks most people. You do not have to be careless to give this information away. You can be careful, cautious, and smart, and still hand it over without realizing what you have done. Let me tell you about a client I will call Margaret. That is not her real name, but her story is absolutely real, and it is one I think about often. Margaret came to my office in the fall of 2021. She was 64 years old, a retired elementary school teacher from Hendersonville, and she was shaking when she sat down in the chair across from my desk. She had a folder in her lap with about 40 pages of documents, and her hands were trembling so badly she could barely open it. Margaret told me that 3 weeks earlier she had received a call on her cell phone from someone claiming to be with the Social Security Administration. The caller had a professional tone, used official language, and told her there was a problem with her Social Security account. He said there had been suspicious activity detected and that her benefits were going to be suspended unless she verified her identity immediately. Margaret was already receiving her Social Security retirement benefit. She had filed at 62 because she needed the income after her husband passed away from a heart attack 2 years earlier. The thought of losing that benefit terrified her. So when the man on the phone asked her to confirm her Social Security number, her date of birth, and her mother's maiden name, she gave it to him. She thought she was protecting herself. She thought she was doing the right thing. 2 weeks later, Margaret started getting bills in the mail for credit cards she had never opened. Then she got a notice from the IRS saying her tax return had already been filed. Then her bank called to say someone had tried to access her checking account from an IP address in Florida. By the time she came to see me, the damage was extensive. Someone had stolen her identity, opened 4 credit card accounts in her name, filed a fraudulent tax return claiming a refund of $6,200, and attempted to redirect her Social Security payments to a different bank account. Margaret had not been careless. She had not clicked on a phishing email. She had not given her information to a stranger on the street. She had answered her phone, and she had trusted someone who sounded official, and that one decision had turned her retirement into a nightmare. Margaret's case is not unusual. In fact, it follows a pattern I have seen play out again and again with clients over the years. And the pattern always starts the same way. Someone shares information they believe is safe to share because the person asking sounds legitimate. So let me be very clear about what you should never share after retirement and why each piece of information matters more than you might think. The first thing you must protect at all costs is your Social Security number. Now, I know that sounds obvious, but let me tell you how people accidentally give this away without realizing it. You get a call from someone claiming to be from Medicare asking you to verify your Medicare number so they can send you a new card. Here is what most people do not know. Your Medicare number used to be your Social Security number. For decades, Medicare cards had your Social Security number printed right on them. That changed in April of 2018 when Medicare started issuing cards with new randomly generated numbers. But the scammers know that millions of people over 60 still think of their Medicare number and their Social Security number as the same thing. So when they call and ask you to verify your Medicare number, you might reflexively give them your Social Security number because that is what you have been conditioned to do for 40 years. And just like that, they have the key to your entire financial life. I had a client named Robert, a 70-year-old retired electrician from Waynesville, who fell for exactly this scam in 2019. He got a call from someone claiming to be with Medicare who told him there was a problem with his prescription drug coverage under Part D. The caller said they needed to verify his information to make sure his coverage would not lapse. Robert gave them his Social Security number over the phone. 2 months later, someone used that number to open a line of credit at a furniture store in Texas and charged $11,000 worth of merchandise. Robert had never been to Texas in his life. It took him 9 months and the help of a consumer protection attorney to get that debt removed from his credit report. And the whole thing started because he answered his phone and trusted someone who sounded official. Now, the second thing you must never share is your date of birth, especially in combination with other personal details. This one surprises people because your date of birth does not feel like sensitive information. It is on your Facebook profile. It is in the birthday announcements in the church bulletin. Your friends and family post happy birthday messages on social media every year with your age right there in the caption. But here is why this matters. Your date of birth is one of the primary pieces of information used to verify your identity for financial accounts, government benefits, and credit applications. When you call your bank, one of the first things they ask is your date of birth. When you apply for a credit card, they ask for your date of birth. When you file a tax return, your date of birth is on the form. Your date of birth is not a secret, but it becomes dangerous when it is combined with other information like your full legal name and your city of residence. Let me tell you about a woman I will call Linda. Linda was 66, a retired nurse from Asheville, and she was active on Facebook. She posted pictures of her grandchildren, shared recipes, commented on her friends' posts, and every year on her birthday she would get dozens of happy birthday messages on her timeline. In March of 2022, someone she did not know sent her a friend request. The profile picture looked like a nice older woman. The profile said she was from Asheville and they had 12 mutual friends. Linda accepted the request. A few weeks later, that same person sent Linda a private message saying she had won a grant from a senior assistance program and all she needed to do was provide some basic information to claim it. The message included an official-looking form asking for her full name, date of birth, address, and phone number. Linda filled it out and sent it back. She thought it was legitimate because this person was friends with people she knew. 3 months later, someone used Linda's information to file a fraudulent unemployment claim in her name. Linda had been retired for 4 years. She had not worked since 2018, but someone in another state had used her name, date of birth, and Social Security number to apply for pandemic unemployment benefits and had collected over $14,000 before the state caught on. Linda is still dealing with the tax consequences of that fraud. The third thing you must protect is any information related to your financial accounts, and I mean any information, not just your account number, but also the name of your bank, the town where your branch is located, and especially the answers to your security questions. I cannot tell you how many times I have seen retirees post on social media about their first car, their high school mascot, their mother's maiden name, or the street they grew up on. Those are not just fun, nostalgic conversation starters. Those are the answers to the most common security questions used by banks, credit card companies, and government agencies. When you post that your first car was a 1972 Ford Mustang, you have just given a potential fraudster the answer to one of the most common security questions in the financial industry. When you comment on a post about your hometown and mention the street you grew up on, you have handed over another piece of the puzzle. I represented a man named Thomas, a 68-year-old retired insurance agent who had his bank account compromised in 2020 because someone called his bank pretending to be him, answered the security questions correctly using information Thomas had shared on Facebook, and convinced the bank to reset his online banking password. The fraudster then logged into Thomas's account and initiated 3 wire transfers totaling $22,000 to accounts in California and Nevada. By the time Thomas noticed, 2 of the transfers had already cleared. He got most of the money back, but it took 4 months, a police report, and a formal dispute process with his bank. And it all started because he had posted on Facebook about his childhood in a small town in Kentucky and mentioned the name of the street where he grew up. Now I want to be very clear about something. I am not telling you this to make you paranoid. I am not telling you to delete your social media accounts, stop answering your phone, and live in fear. What I am telling you is that the landscape has changed. 30 years ago, identity theft was rare. It required physical documents, forged signatures, and a lot of effort. Today, identity theft is industrialized. There are organized networks of criminals who do nothing but harvest personal information, build profiles on potential victims, and execute fraud at scale. And they are specifically targeting retirees because retirees tend to have better credit, more assets, and are statistically more likely to trust authority figures. According to the Federal Trade Commission, people aged 60 and older reported losing over $1 billion to fraud in 2022 alone. That number has more than doubled since 2020. The most common scams targeting seniors involve impersonation of government officials, fake tech support calls, and romance scams. But the thing all of these scams have in common is this: they start with the victim sharing information they did not realize was dangerous to share. So what do? How do you protect yourself without becoming a hermit? Let me give you 3 specific strategies that work. First, adopt what I call the verification reversal protocol. Here is how it works. If someone calls you claiming to be from Social Security, Medicare, your bank, the IRS, or any other institution, you do not verify anything on that call. You do not confirm your Social Security number. You do not confirm your date of birth. You do not confirm your address. Instead, you say this exact sentence: "I need to call you back through the official number." Then you hang up. You look up the official phone number yourself using a government website or the back of your insurance card or your bank statement, and you call that number. When you get a real representative, you ask them if there was any issue with your account. 99 times out of 100, they will tell you there was no issue and no one from their organization called you. That phone call you just received was a scam. This simple protocol stops the majority of phone-based fraud attempts in their tracks because scammers rely on urgency and pressure. The moment you take control and say you will call back, they lose their leverage. Second, create a social media safety rule for yourself. If you use Facebook, Instagram, or any other platform, make a personal rule that you will never post your date of birth, your full address, your phone number, or answers to common security questions. Go through your past posts right now and delete anything that reveals your mother's maiden name, your first pet's name, your high school mascot, the street you grew up on, or your first car. I know that feels like you are erasing memories, but those memories are not worth the risk. You can still share photos of your grandchildren. You can still post about your garden or your vacation. Just stop sharing the specific details that can be used to verify your identity with a financial institution. Third, freeze your credit. This is the single most effective thing you can do to prevent someone from opening new accounts in your name. A credit freeze is free. It takes about 15 minutes, and it stops anyone, including you, from opening new credit accounts until you unfreeze it. You need to freeze your credit with all 3 major credit bureaus: Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. You can do this online at each bureau's website. When your credit is frozen, even if someone has your social security number and your date of birth, they cannot open a credit card, take out a loan, or apply for a mortgage in your name because the lender will not be able to pull your credit report. If you need to apply for credit yourself, you can temporarily unfreeze it with a PIN that only you have and then refreeze it afterward. I have had my own credit frozen for 6 years. It has caused me zero inconvenience and it has given me complete peace of mind. Now let me address something important. Some of you might be thinking, but Hal, I take medication. I need to share my Medicare information with the pharmacy. Yes, you do. And that is fine. The difference is this: you are initiating the contact. You are walking into the pharmacy or calling the number on your prescription bottle. You are in control of the interaction. What you do not do is give that information to someone who calls you out of the blue. The rule is simple: if they call you, do not share. If you call them, it is safe. I also want to hear from you. Have you or someone you know been targeted by one of these scams? What happened? Leave a comment below and share your experience. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to avoid making the same mistake. And if this video helped you understand something you did not know before, I would appreciate it if you shared it with someone who needs to hear it. Send it to your spouse. Send it to your parents. Send it to a friend who might be at risk. This is information that can genuinely protect people, and the more people who see it, the better. I'm Hal Whitfield. Knowledge is your best policy.